Hi, I'm Simon Rushton, and this is Taxi Chronicles podcast. On this podcast, we spontaneously interview unsuspecting passengers with their permission, allowing them to share their intimate life stories and concerns. As our slogan states, real riders, real stories. Some riders prefer to be anonymous, while others ask me to tell their story later on. Either way, there are all genuine 5 to 10 minutes stories, so sit back and enjoy this episode. Morning. Yes, we're back with another episode of Taxi Chronicles. We've got a beautiful lady here all the way from the mother country, Russia.
Hello.
When she smiled to me, I knew she was a model. Even though she denied it at first, she confessed. But now, lovely to have you.
Hi.
Okay, we should call you Anna for this trip. Hopefully that's not your name. So you were telling me about modelling. You're telling me how lots of models go to Russia. So tell us more.
The modeling industry is a difficult industry because the models that you see now, like especially most famous ones that are there at the moment, they haven't been through as much as the girls from other countries who start from very low, so really want to become models. They usually agree to a lot of things that they might haven't done if they didn't have to do it, but we live in a world where people want to be famous, people want to get recognition.
What kind of things do they agree to?
Working incredible hours, being in incredible conditions, just like the way people treat them. I'm not talking about some horrible things that sometimes happen in the industry, but just certain.
What kind of hours?
It could be the whole day. It could be 13 hours, it could be 16 hours. You get like 4 hours of sleep sometimes. Usually everything basically usually starts really early in the morning, because you have to get all the team together to do your makeup, to do your outfit, to do the setup and everything. So usually a lot of work comes in the morning, and then sometimes other work comes later on in the day. So your day is usually full of things happening, and you usually run around from one place to another, not really having enough time to breathe or to eat. And I feel like it's really unhealthy especially for young girls who just start modeling, and usually it's at the age of 12 and 15. And
so they go that age?
Yeah, they go really late.
So they go from Russia or wherever to China or places to model at 12?
Yeah. Because it's very easy to get not very easy, but there is a lot of work in Asia. They like young girls, like they like their looks. And they do a lot of work for magazines and for fashion shows there. So usually they send girls that are around like 15 to work there without their parents, on their own, working a lot of hours.
So their parents know that they're going?
Yeah. Sometimes parents don't really have a choice if you come from a poor background and they just need money.
Oh, so the parents send them off, go and earn a living and you can help us.
Sometimes that's the case. So other times the girls make a choice of their own. They want to live a beautiful life, be able to travel. I feel like a lot of girls do it because they would like to see the world that they wouldn't have the possibility to see otherwise.
So they've been sold a fairy tale?
In a sense, yeah.
Or is it anesthesia?
Anastasia.
Anesthesia. Anastasia, that kind of stuff. Okay. All right. So, can they leave? Can they go home? Or do they have to work and pay their flight kind of thing? Is it one of those situations?
Sometimes it depends on the contract. It really depends on the agency and the contract. So usually they send you to work, and then if you don't get enough jobs and the agency doesn't get enough job, it doesn't profit from you basically. You're basically working for food and for stay. You don't even get enough extra money for anything else. So some girls don't have enough money to go back home.
Okay, and they can't contact their parents?
They can, but if you come from a poor family, there is no way someone can get you a ticket to travel back, and the tickets even to Asia are really expensive. It could get to 1,000 starting from £1,000 depending on what season you're traveling.
And the embassy, can't they go to the embassy?
I mean, it's kind of the choice that they've made to travel in the first place, so I think it's a little bit difficult to get them back, especially if there is some paperwork, if you signed paper saying that, yeah, you're working and this is the money that you own to the company. You don't want to come back in big debts, you know. There's been situations in which girls travel, they don't get enough jobs or they can't work being physically tired, and they end up being in debt to the agencies that they signed the contracts with in the first place.
Okay, all right. So what if the agency gets to a point where this girl's not any good to us? Mm-hmm. What happens then? But she still owes us money. What do they say? What happens then?
I actually don't know. Fortunately, I haven't been in a situation like that. I've been in situations in which I wasn't paid, but it wasn't a really big issue at the time. It was bad because I lost money, because I worked, I earned that money, but I never got the money from the job. But there is not much you can do in that situation. I mean, you can go through the court and everything, but if there's some papers missing or if you haven't really signed a contract with anyone, it could be difficult for you to prove, and it's a small case, and it could be difficult to get. You might even end up in more trouble.
Yeah, so more money, you could earn more money, end up paying more money than you would actually. Yeah, I see what you mean. And they may be more connected.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so, okay. So what would you say to a young girl who says she wants to get into modelling? Would you discourage her?
I think it really depends on why she's doing it. I think anything related to beauty, like, you know, pageants, girls or models, I think if you start this at a very young age, it could be very difficult as you get older, because some girls, if they grow up in an environment in which they are praised once they are graduated from that stage in life, they might be expecting different from people around them. If they don't get it, it might be really difficult.
So the kind of men that they will end up with are men who are wealthy but probably don't respect women.
It could be that. It could also be that if you grew up with a lot of attention and then all of a sudden you don't get it because you don't do modeling anymore, it's kind of difficult for you to, you know, to encourage yourself because you don't get that appreciation and appraisal from people around you. But I feel like modeling is interesting. I think you should do it a little bit later, like maybe
18 or something?
Yeah, maybe 18, 17 even, because your body is kind of like, I feel like the girls should do it when their bodies are fully formed. Yeah. Because I feel like once you start modeling, especially in the age of like 15, like, I mean, when you're a teenager, your body changes a lot, and like your food habits change and everything changes. Yeah. So you don't want to end up being in a situation when you're going through this change to worsen it by the environment that you work in or like you model in.
Isn't there a law, let's say in Russia, we use Russia as an example, about the age somebody can work?
I'm actually not sure because I grew up outside of Russia, so I don't really know a lot of laws there, but I know that they wanted to introduce a law for age in modeling, because there's been a very sad situation in which a girl, she overworked and she died because she overworked.
So worked to exhaustion. She was worked to exhaustion, like in a concentration camp kind of thing.
Yeah, she was working so much, and I think she was already going through some health issues. Yeah. But she didn't tell her mom. I mean, she was a nice girl. Even I think she was from the same agency that I was in. I never met her because it's been a lot of years, and I think she's a lot younger than I am. Yep. But she was basically sent to Asia, and she died of exhaustion. I think she was just on the fashion show, and then she felt sick. They hospitalized her, and then she never made it.
Maybe. So the medical care is paid by the agent then?
I actually don't know. I don't know. I just seen that situation in the news, and I was shocked because that agency was back home, and I know where it was, and I was surprised that she was from the same agency as I was. But I don't know what the real issue was, because apparently, like, she didn't have to work. It was like her choice.
Oh, she just wanted
like
the
her
fame.
mom was surprised by the whole situation because she didn't even know her daughter was overworking herself.
Oh, so
like,
the girl in question, she wasn't in another country, she was in...
No, she was in another country.
Yeah.
She was traveling for work, and then like when this happened, her mom was shook because she didn't have any idea of what was happening with her daughter. She remembers speaking to her that she wasn't feeling well, but it was nothing major, and then it just turned out that she was super exhausted and she just died of exhaustion.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at, the mum knew she was modelling.
Yeah, she knew.
She knew she went to model in another country. It's not like she said
knew.
she's going on holiday.
No, she knew.
Oh, okay.
She knew where she was going.
Okay, that's interesting. So these girls can't come back, but or they can't come back unless they got the fare. So would it be wise to say that you would, if you're going to do modelling, one, needs to be a certain age, but two, you need to make sure you have a return flight just in case?
Yeah, I think these things should be set out. I feel like, especially if you're a younger age, you should have the possibility to choose whether you can come back home whenever you kind of feel like it. But at the same time, I understand the agency, they have their responsibility, they have their own clients.
Yeah, it's probably a cutthroat business.
Yeah, I feel like it's a 50-50 situation, because there could be models that just travel and they don't want to work. Yeah. They just do it because they get things for free. That could be the case, but you really never know. But I do think that this industry should be controlled a little bit more, like even to kind of the beauty standards, like the requirements. Like I have been declined so many times, because when I just moved here, I wanted to do modeling whilst I was still in university, as like a part-time job, because I wasn't really busy with uni stuff. Like it was very flexible, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and do modeling here. So I've been to a lot of agencies, and I've actually have been declined so many times because they said I wasn't like their type, and I think I was too big for their standards.
Really?
Yeah.
But you're very slim.
That's the point.
So they want anorexic.
I feel like it depends where you are, because if you go to New York, maybe, for example, in New York, my beauty would be more appreciated. But like, it really depends on which country you're in. For example, I think in Paris, they like really skinny girls, like anorexic
That's really
skinny.
Dangerous, though.
I mean, some girls are naturally skinny, especially at a young age. You could be naturally skinny. I know people that like they eat loads, but they are just naturally like that.
But if you're tall, even as a lady, the chances of you being super skinny is going to be slim.
It's going to be what?
It's going to be slim. It's going to be small chance. If you're tall, the taller you are, the more you will fill out. Do you see what I mean?
Oh, I see what you mean,
Yeah. The other thing I was going to say, I was thinking about why Asia likes them very young. Maybe it's because they're small themselves. And you said the ladies haven't fully developed yet, the young girls. So when they're modelling, they can kind of see themselves in that. Do you see what I mean? Their target market audience can see themselves in that, instead of if you had a fully developed lady, and then she's got her build is much more than what the average Asian Oriental person would be.
Yeah, I think they look at I think they just look at Asian girls in general. They are pretty petite, like height-wise, body-wise in general. So maybe that's why they really like young-looking girls. But I've seen fashion shows and magazines with some girls, and I was surprised to see that the girls that took part, they were at like 14, 15, 16, because they didn't look that age. They looked a lot older. I would think they're in their 20s. Yeah. By the looks that they're wearing, by the makeup that is done, I'm just like so surprised, because I don't really understand why you want a young girl if she ends up looking
like a mature woman. Yeah,
like a mature girl. I don't know.
Is it they're less likely to complain work-wise? They're more obedient? Do you see what I mean?
I mean, I don't know really. That could be the case, but I've never really thought about it, because I feel like any girl that wants to be a model and it's her passion to be one, I feel like she can do a lot of things. She could agree to a lot of things.
Okay. What kind of things would she agree to?
I mean, like I mentioned previously, living in a horrible environment, doing crazy hours.
Okay.
Maybe sometimes doing what she's not really ready to do, like I don't know, taking part in some fashion shows that she doesn't really want to do. I feel like the problem with fashion, or I feel like problem with modeling more sad, is that models' opinion is not really considered. It's not really not considered.
Yep.
So you're kind of just there as a mannequin.
It's a
really.
showpiece. Yeah. So, obviously we're talking about young girls.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing sexual about when they're brought over there. There's no like hidden agenda with these agencies or anything like that.
I mean, it obviously depends. I mean, it shouldn't be the case, but it obviously depends sometimes. Some girls are just like ready to do it. Others, it just happen to be in that situation. I feel like there is problems like this not only in fashion industry but everywhere else.
Now, why I ask is because that may be explaining why they want the younger ones if they're of ill moral, or if they're not good in that respect, or not the agency, not the girls, of course. In that respect, there's just a thought that come in my mind. You wonder why you would want someone really young. From your own experience, do you look back and think, I wish I'd never done that modelling?
No, I feel like it's an interesting job to do because you experiment with your looks a lot. You kind of, like I said, travel, you meet people. It really depends on what kind of person you are. It could give you a lot of opportunities because, like I said, you travel a lot, you meet a lot of people. It's an interesting job. You can learn a new language, you can visit a lot of places. I mean, when I didn't do modeling very seriously. I just, I kind of worked as a freelance. If somebody needed or wanted to see me as a model, I would take part. But I didn't come across any situations that made me be like, oh, I wish I've never had that before. Because, I was never approached with a question like, oh, do you want to sleep with me and I'll give you opportunities.
Okay.
I've never had anything offered to me in a sexual context.
Yeah.
Like if I was told I was going to do this, I'll be doing this. There was one time a situation, but it wasn't anything too major, but I remember I was 17 and I was asked for a photo shoot for an editorial, and it was like a summer campaign. I had to wear a swimsuit and I had to pose with alcohol.
Yeah.
And I wasn't ready for this. Like, I've spoken to my agent and he didn't tell me anything like that. And when I came on the set and then they gave me, I knew I was going to do, I knew I was going to do swimwear because I didn't mind it. But what I minded was the fact that I had to pose with alcohol because I was underage. But I was already on the job. I was really worried how would that look. And then I just did the job because I felt uncomfortable saying, oh no, because everything was already organized. I felt like this wasn't the...
So your agent let you down? Did you?
My agent let me down, yeah. So it wasn't the fault of the people who were already on set, and I just didn't want to leave because it was not their fault. It was the fault of my agent that he hasn't told me what I was going to do. Because if I knew I was going to pose with alcohol, I would have said no, because this is something, usually when you work in an agency, you can say the kind of things you want to do, the kind of things you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Like there is a paper and they ask you, do you want to...
tick box kind of thing.
Yeah, you tick box. Like if you're not ready to do like lingerie or naked photos, you don't have to do it because that's what you sign in the contract.
Yeah.
And some girls do it. I know, like for example, kind of my... the kind of things I wouldn't want to do was wedding. I didn't want to do anything to do with wedding. like
Really?
wedding dresses, wedding fashion shows, and I didn't want to do anything with lingerie.
Why not weddings?
Because it's like a tradition in my country in which you don't wear a wedding gown before getting married.
Okay,
it's not really good.
Yeah.
So I kind of grew up with that idea, and I never wanted to do it. But there's been 2 situations in which my agent let me down again. One time it was for a hair fashion show, which was bridal, and we had to wear bridal dresses, and I was convinced, because I was already on the set, and I was convinced that it was not a bridal show. But when I saw the dresses and when I saw the hairstyles, I realized that it was a bridal show, and I was really frustrated because if I would have known, I wouldn't have taken place.
Yeah.
And I had another fashion show in which...
So you did it in the end of the day?
Yeah, I did it because I was already on set and it was already all agreed. I never had a situation in which I just left the job.
Okay.
Because it's never been that bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been through a few situations in which I had to do something that I didn't want to do because of my agent letting me down.
And the other situation was?
The other one was another fashion show. It was a big fashion show, and there was a really nice designer. He had a lot of dresses, and I feel like some of them were bridal, and I was convinced it was not bridal. It didn't really look bridal, but I saw that all the white dresses had a bridal vibe to them.
Mm-hmm.
And again, they convinced me that it was not bridal, and I didn't want to go at first. But then I really looked at my dress, and I was like, because when you do bridals, like if there is a show, they usually, the bridal dress, the gown or whatever it is, it comes at the end of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And it was white, and I was coming at the end of the show with the other girls. That's how I thought. That's how I knew it was probably a bridal dress, and I didn't want to do it. But it wasn't very obvious because I didn't have to wear the veil. Yeah.
The veil thing.
The veil, yeah.
Well, thanks for that. The last question is, what's the impact you want to have on the world?
I want to make it a better, happier place.
Okay, very simple and straightforward. Okay, well, thanks for that great interview. Really interesting, and we learned a lot.
Thank you.
We hoped you liked that episode. Keeping in mind, we never know who we're going to interview. We post twice a day, 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. GMT. Have you ever considered the future economies to invest in? Why not listen to our sister podcast, Africa Investor Stories? Considering Africa has the fastest growing economies and population on Earth, and has done for many years, it holds 30% of the world's known natural resources. We publish twice a week, Tuesday with a guest investor, and Fridays talking about investment, politics and history, providing a clear understanding for any potential investor.